in the afternoon. We will have lunch provided. So I'd just like to take a moment to thank presenting sponsors, Routes on Funeral Home, Dodge Memorials, and Woodland Cemetery and Arboretum in Dayton. I would also like to mention our event sponsor for the weekend, Rock of Ages Corporation. And I would also then like to do our patron sponsors of Roberson Law, Techstone Granite, and Cold Spring Granite. And the reason that I created this festival is to use information, humor, and a light touch to get us prepared for the decisions we need to make for the end of our lives so then we can go on living. This isn't about death. This is about life, love, and legacy. Leaving that legacy on to the people you leave behind so that when they are grieving, they are having to deal with all decisions that come. Death is complicated. And I know this firsthand because a week before last year's event, my father died. And you think you have a lot of things figured out. And what you end up finding out is that there are so many steps. And if you have a person that's wrapped up in a business too, it's even more complicated. So the more that you can get planned ahead from the very beginning, the more that then you can leave that legacy of love. I'll let your family move through grief without that complication. And that's what this event's all about. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off. I want to give an opportunity for the folks here at Routes to do a little housekeeping. They'll tell you kind of where food, drink, are. So if you wouldn't mind jumping in, this is Sam Routes on, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here today. My goal is to keep you as comfortable as possible. So if you need anything, just come and find me. I'll be able to help with anything that you need. We got beverages in the back in that cooler there. We got some coffee on the table to the right. We got some morning snacks over there on that high top table to the left, though. So just let me know if you guys need anything outside that. Oh, bathrooms are, it's kind of in a weird spot. So you're going to go, you can either go out that way and then take a right through once you're past the kitchenette, or you can go out this way past all these tables and then just hang a left and you'll be at the bathrooms too. Okay. So yeah, just let me know if you guys need anything. We're excited to have you here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. So the first introduction I want to make is Denise Zwick. She's going to talk to us about downsizing. Denise is a licensed realtor. She's devoted to senior relocation and downsize consulting. She actually has personal experience, and you can kind of, instead of me spoiling that, I'll let you tell that. But she, from her realty, evolved into starting Downsize Allies. So if you would take a moment to just welcome Denise Zwick.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm so glad to see you all here. And I'm very grateful to Neil for having me. This is year 3. Has there anybody in here that's been here more than one time? Wow, thank you. Welcome back. I'm grateful to the Route Songs for supplying this amazing facility for us. As Neil said, I've been in the Dayton area, celebrated last week 35 years. I can't believe it. I'm like, God, did I start at 0? No. I'm aged, right? Very similar to what he was sharing is one of the reasons I'm absolutely so passionate about this is I have had a lot of personal and now professional experience with this whole process. I have a quick question though. Am I supposed to click the thing? Is that what this is? Okay. Sorry.
The clicky thing.
The clicky thingy.
Important.
No, because I'll just get to talking and then I may not. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I saw it. That's me. So I literally have sold, now over 4,000 homes. And time in the business, years on the planet. I had a Remax office. I don't know if anybody has heard of me before, but I had a big Remax office for 26 years. And the pandemic hit me, and I had already started really specializing in downsizing and estates back in 2015. A lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, their families, etc. So I realized there was a lot of things that had to happen before we got to the home sale, right? And oftentimes the reason that Neil is providing this amazing symposium is that there is a lot that needs to take place, and where we find that we were getting called in is in the crises, right? Nobody likes to plan for the future. One of my favorite things, the first year that we had this, there was a wonderful lady here, I can't remember her name, from New Mexico, I think it was. But she said, 100% of us are gonna die. I mean, that's given, and only 30% of us prepare for it. And I will tell you that's absolutely the truth. And I would say 30% is probably a little generous, including me. And I just downsized this year, so whew, I really can have the experience. But there's 5 main topics I'm going to go through today. Because what happened in 2004 is I was number 1, number 2 real estate agent in the marketplace, and my mom died suddenly. And I had a grandmother 88, an uncle 89, and an uncle that was 60, mentally challenged and bedridden. And I'm 34 years old, and all of a sudden have to figure out how to handle all of this. So very quickly through good and bad, paid and non-paid advice, I had to navigate a lot of this on my own, right? So the real estate part was easy for me, but it wasn't easy for my grandmother. It wasn't easy for my uncle, right? Of navigating how to figure out where to get them, how to get the home sold, all that kind of stuff, where to put them, all of those items. So we really do handle the house and everything else. There's 5 topics I'm going to discuss today, and if there's any other questions you guys have, please feel free to ask me. How much time do I have, Neil?
An hour.
Okay, I have a lot of time. I can fill it up, but I go to fill it up with information that you guys want to hear about, right? And there's really no questions off limits. The 5 categories that we're going to go over, just to give you a brief synopsis, is kind of signs of when it's time, right? The benefits of it, like everybody kind of looks at, not everybody, but a lot of people look at downsizing as like a death sentence, Well, you're not getting rid of the past, you're creating new memories, Unfortunately, a lot of people stay in their home too long, which creates health issues, safety issues, all those different kinds of things. Because what I've discovered over the last several years is that it's the fear of change, And again, I just went through it. I lived in my home for 16 years, and that was even shocking to me. Never lived anywhere that long. And there was a lot of stuff I accumulated, and I didn't think I was a pack rat. Well, little did I know, right? So what they say, and this is a statistic, I don't know if it's true or not, I think it depends on the person, but they say it takes you literally 1 week for every year that you've lived in your home to actually start to get ready to downsize. So for me, 16 weeks, 4 months, it was pretty accurate, right? I started, I think, in October with the thought and started getting ready, accurate for me, So there's a lot of different things that goes through that process. So feel free to write down any questions. The next part is what we discover is sometimes parents know it's time to downsize, but the kids don't want them to, or the kids don't realize what's happening, and how to have those conversations with your adult children. And the adult children know sometimes before the parents do that it's really time for them to go too. And unfortunately, parents are always our parents, right? And at some certain points, and we're dealing with 3 current situations right now where it's really hard on the children because the parents are kind of kicking and screaming, but it's really for their best interest and safety to get them into a new community or a smaller home, or even in with the kids. So we'll go through some tips on how to have those conversations as well. And then finally, just some simple steps to get started, okay? If anyone, again, has any questions, please let me know. So what are the signs it's time to downsize? When your housing budget leaves little cash for discretionary spending. A lot of times when we retire, our income drops. The wonderful thing about our property values going up over the last 4 years dramatically, roughly 30 to 35% overall, is the unfortunate part is our property taxes have gone up too. So we're seeing a lot of seniors that have been on fixed incomes because their Social Security pensions didn't go up by 30 to 35% in that same time frame, So there's always like a blessing and a curse. So sometimes when your income drops and you're experiencing some stress around that, when your monthly housing expenses become more than 30% of that income, that's a good time to start thinking about, downsizing financially. And then the housing and maintenance expenses become cost prohibitive. as we live in our homes, they deteriorate, just because we built a home 20 years ago that, we spent however many dollars on, unless that home is continually maintained and updated, it actually devalues as opposed to appreciates just because it's real estate. You have to keep it up with the times and so forth. And some people forget about that. And if you do let that maintenance go, that, caulking the window seals, like painting the exterior of the house, it's not easy for us to do it as we get older, right? And so that really can devalue the property and start to detract from that purchase price. When you're overwhelmed with maintenance and the upkeep, you no longer want to mow the grass or shovel the snow. I never have, right? Even when I bought my house back in 08, back in Yankee Trace, I was 34 years old, and I'm like, where can I live in this community that they take care of my grass and my snow? And I want a house, but I just don't like to do that stuff. I'd rather be on a boat. But anyway, no longer able or want to keep up the routine maintenance, and the additional costs to maintain them are just really expensive, right? Your homes no longer fit your needs. So what I experienced, and I don't know how many of you are experiencing this as well, but we live in about 25% of our homes. I realized of my 4,000 square foot house, I was living in about 1,100 square feet. Does anybody else kind of empathize or feel that way? I used my kitchen, my bathroom, and my master bedroom. That was about it. I'm like, I don't need this much. Cabinets and storage spaces are hard to access, I don't know about you guys, but I used to be 5'5", and now I'm 5'4". That's why I wear these heels, right? I'd have to hem my pants. But, taller spaces are hard to reach, getting to the basement, that's not always as easy, right? And stairs make it difficult to access different living spaces, such as the master bedroom, a family room, or a lower level where you used to spend all your time. Your neighbors have all moved on. Has anybody experienced that? Like, you still live in your home and your neighbors have kind of went on to Florida or another community, or they're with their kids or whatever. And so you're looking around, you're like, who are these people? The neighbors have passed on or downsized, and neighbors have moved to independent or assisted living communities. You want to convert your home equity into income, right? That is the big benefit of what we've just experienced over the last 4 years, my friends, is that, like I said, our property values are 30 to 35% on average increased over those years, which is huge. So there is a lot of equity sitting in your homes right now, and you can turn that into actually income for yourself. 51% of older workers have less than $50,000 of savings. It was shocking when I found that statistic, right? That doesn't last too long if you have to go to a community. There's a HELOC, equity home line of credit. Those are relatively inexpensive money that you can tap into your home. You can use that to buy another property if you are downsizing, or you can use it for paying off bills or what have you, because that is still tax deductible. Talk to your accountant. I'm not an accountant nor an attorney, so I don't give financial or legal advice. And reverse mortgages. A lot of people think that reverse mortgages are horrible, right? And I have the absolute different opinion. Used properly, reverse mortgages are very beneficial, because when somebody doesn't have money and they do have equity in their home, it allows them to stay in their home without payments until they pass on or move. Then the loan has to be paid back. So where where reverse mortgages got a bad rap was back in the early 2000s, when people were taking these reverse mortgages out and the stock market was doing well and they were investing in the stock market, losing their money. And it was just, they weren't using them for the purposes that they are. But when your income is decreased and you can take money out of your home to pay your monthly expenses, keep the property up and maintain it, when used properly, reverse mortgages are a really good idea. You want to be closer to your family. Oh, and by the way, on reverse mortgages, your heirs are not subject to any default. Or if the property is worth less when you sell than what you owe on it, your heirs are not responsible for that debt either. It is what it is. It's an FHA underwritten mortgage, and therefore that gap, so to speak, is covered by the FHA mortgage insurance that you pay on those loans. So some people think that their kids are going to be burdened if there's a default or a difference, and there's not. So you want to be closer to family. 24% of the buyers are buying smaller homes are the silent generation, which is what 74 to 94. 53% are moving to be closer to their grandchildren. What's really funny is we're getting several clients that are coming back from Florida, back from the Carolinas, back from all these beautiful places because they moved to retire, then they had grandkids. And guess what's more important than Ohio winters? The grandkids. So we're seeing a lot of that happen. So, and baby boomers want to be closer to their adult children. Again, I'm not so much sure it's for the adult children, but I think it's a lot to do with the grandkids. 24% of the buyers, sorry. So the main benefits of downsizing. Financial benefits, reducing your mortgage and or property taxes. We've talked about that, like frees up your budget. More time to do hobbies, traveling, or other interests. How many of you have put things off for a long time and it's like, I'll wait till that day, I'll wait till that day, I'll wait till that day. Well, then I've got to spend all weekend cleaning the house and I can't go to that, wine event that I wanted to go to, or I can't go hiking in the woods or what have you, because you have all this stuff to do in your home. So when you downsize, you have less space, less stuff to take care of. You have more time, it's just obvious. And then you have more time for your family as well. Less housekeeping. That was the other big thing in mine. I had a full finished basement that I never went down to. I swear there could have been a squatter down there for 5 years and I wouldn't have known about it, unless I took my little dog Oliver. I don't know if any of you know, but more people know him than me. But unless I took him downstairs instead of out the front door, I never went downstairs. I never used literally almost 2,000 square feet of my home, right? So my cleaning person was cleaning it, I was heating it, I was maintaining it, and I wasn't using it. More time to enjoy your life during your golden age and save money again on house maintenance and upkeep. Cozier atmosphere, less space to spread out and divide makes the home cozier. Everybody, when we're raising our kids and, we want we need the man cave, we need the kids space, we need our space. Well, as the kids move out and things change, we want to be closer to each other. I think if one thing COVID taught me and a lot of people that I know is that relationships and being around people are important. And when you have a smaller home, there's nowhere to hide, right? So you guys got to hang out. Provide close-knit entertainment for small groups of friends. Create welcoming and comfortable environments for relaxation. Has anybody looked around or anybody thought about downsizing or looking at any smaller homes, some of the new communities that they're coming up with? They're coming up with some really cool options in senior housing right now, and it's really nice to see. They need more of it, by the way, but they are starting to go to that direction. Less clutter. This is something that I totally found. Smaller homes have less room for the non-essentials, right? Again, when I downsize, I'm like, why do I need 6 baking dishes and I don't cook? I had 7, those Pyrex 2-cup cups. I had 8 of those. I'm like, what the, right? Anyway, so my other house, I don't have room for all that stuff. Minor clutter can rapidly overwhelm a small space. Clutter also is an overwhelming experience for people. It leads to depression. So when you come in and you have a lot of clutter in your home and you don't know where to start, it can really affect people's emotions and moods. Makes the environment more calming and friendly. Cash from minimalists. Selling unwanted stuff for cash. You've heard that one man's trash is another. It's true. I was so surprised. I have one of the services that we provide. We help with auctioneers and clean out companies and so forth. But one of my favorite vendors that we use is, I'm like, here, just go look at my basement. Get rid of the stuff. She was bringing me checks, or actually cash. Bringing me checks. I'm like, well, what did you sell the golf clubs? Did you sell the bike? Oh no, she was selling I don't know, little vases or whatever. People want this stuff. So you've got a lot of money sitting in your house that you don't really realize, and it's good to have that extra cash. Auctions, eBay, Facebook, and consignment businesses are great ways to sell goods, right? There's a lot of different, Facebook Marketplace is really gaining, there's a lot of commerce on Facebook Marketplace. Because you have less room for storage, you spend less on large ticket items, right? How many treadmills do people have? If you want to raise your hand that you never use. Is anybody going to admit to it besides me? Or ellipticals, right? Ellipticals, treadmills, I had a whole gym that I like to say I went into often, but I'd say 3 times a year. But it looked good in pictures, Look good when friends came over. Oh, yeah. So when you have less room, you can't buy those big things that you're never going to use anyway. Any questions on any of that so far? Nothing? I'm covering it all? You guys are easy, right? Or is it just too early? Do we have coffee here?
Right here. Anybody needs it, it's in the bag.
This is a really,
Oh,
oh, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
do you have any tips on dealing with an elderly person who has a tendency to be a hoarder?
Yes, ma'am. Actually,
And has emotional attachments to strange things?
yeah, so I
My
found,
wife has that.
Yeah.
Emotional attachment to strange things.
it's,
She started with me.
That's what I'm talking about.
that's good. Absolutely. And it's been one of the most eye-opening things for me over the last several years in doing what we're doing is one, how many people are hoarders, quite honestly. And two, what we've discovered, I have two people that are on my team, and I call my team, they're my vendors, or the people that we use to help manage the whole downsizing process. And they're actually hoarder specialists, like they're certified. Because have you ever seen the show Hoarders? Have you guys ever watched that? And you're sitting there going, what? Like, but you see how emotional they are and how irrational it appears to us. But it really is an illness. It really is a disease. And I'm not an expert in it. That's why I have the experts. But I was told by both of them that typically when people are true hoarders, like I pretend like I was one, but really true hoarders, there was some catastrophic emotional event that happened at the time that they started hoarding whatever it is that they're hoarding. Some seniors, it's because they were so poor that they didn't want to get rid of anything. You know, it could be that we see that a lot, but there are other issues that we see that it could have been, I won't go into details, but there's a lot of times there was a really emotional event that caused them to start that behavior, right? And so for us, it doesn't make any sense at all, but for them, it's just natural, you know? So it takes a different level of skill. You can't just be like, well, Aunt Betty, this is stupid. Like, why are you holding on to like all these magazines and whatever? But that's something's important to them. We've had properties that we've cleaned out where unfortunately people have passed, and we have found, not we have, but our clean out people have found thousands and thousands of dollars, magazines, newspapers, all that kind of stuff, right? Is there a specific situation you'd like to ask about? Are they looking to downsize or?
In theory.
Yeah.
In theory, they want to, but it's always theory. And when I try to help, it's oh no, that belonged to my dad.
Yeah.
Or that looks like something that belonged to my dad.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just, there's always an emotion.
There's an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
I do, go ahead, Kaya. This is Kaya Spittler.
Oh,
Stand up,
hi.
Kaya. Kaya's been
Sorry.
with me for 3 years. She's my rock star. I was just talking to Neil's assistant on the way in. I'm like, she's my everything girl. She doesn't really have a job title. She does it all, but she is a licensed real estate agent as well, and she helps with our home concierge
One of
part.
the things that because we have a current client that's also running into that situation. The mom's already out of the house, she's in a community, she's been there for over a year, but she won't let her kids get rid of any of the items in the home, even though she hasn't seen them. One of the things that we often find is we help them identify, like, what's a cause that's important to your mom? The Artemis shelter, a homeless shelter, the community church. You've done so well at loving these items and taking care of them. Isn't it fair to let somebody else that's starting over have a chance to do well and take care of them too?
That's a way to, and thank you for bringing that up. That is a way that we've been able to help our clients kind of have those conversations with their parents, but it's tough, you know. And fortunately or unfortunately, because I have been through this and I do understand all of that, sometimes we have to be the parent, we have to be the strong point, we have to be empathetic to their emotions, and I'll talk to the discussions. But at the same time, it's not in their best interest to live in. We had a home out in Beaver Creek that literally the lady was wildly successful out of the base. When whatever happened to her happened, we had to get her moved into an assisted living, but nobody knew it. But for 10 years, because she didn't let anybody in her home either, and that's a huge sign. Like if they always want to come to your house or they want to come meet you, you may not know that your relatives, your loved ones, your friends have this disease, right? So if you've not been in someone's home for quite a while, heads up, there's something going on. But literally there were so many dead animals that, I mean, you would not believe the stuff that we've seen, and she just didn't see it. She didn't know it. And we've seen some really, there's hoarding and then there's hoarding. And we've seen some really catastrophic situations. So like Kaya said, I have to have that confrontational conversation, like I do a lot of videos on my Facebook page, and one of them is basically it's the memory that they're holding on, not the thing. So if you can figure out somehow how to attach that memory, take pictures of it, make it digital. I had several, unfortunately, very good friends down in Florida that just lost everything in Helene and Milton, right? And the one lady, I mean, she owns 3 real estate brokerages, and she was like, everything is gone, and her pictures, all of that stuff. And I said, well, if you were paying attention to my videos, Kim, then you would be taking pictures of this stuff, because the memories are the pictures, like, oh, you know what I mean? So that's what we talk about, is digitizing a lot of things, taking pictures of it so that when they are, and we talked about this with our client that Kaya's talking about, so when they are in that community, but they're remembering whatever, they don't know what they have, how much of it, until they see it, right? So, but if you take pictures of things, then they can have that memory, and that's the heart attachment is by seeing it. So it's a process, but if you start like relating it, tying it to something they're passionate about, hey, if you want your niece, if she wants the whatever, or a Artemis or Habitat for Humanity, or whatever charity that they are maybe involved in or been appreciated with, like, hey, would you like to let XYZ, somebody that doesn't have as much as you've been blessed with, use it from now on and get as much good out of it as you have? Yeah, TR.
Denise, one of my issues is, yeah, I'm definitely a hoarder, but I'm hoarding my great grandmother's china and silver and all that kind of stuff, and thinking that my boys would want it, and I don't think they give a shit.
They don't.
And so now that they're engaged, maybe they're significant others.
Right.
But when do you pull the cord? When do you say, okay,
Now.
I want to get rid of this stuff,
Yeah.
and you guys,
Yeah,
take
now.
it or lose it.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll just store it in your house, Dad.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah,
idea.
and we see a lot of that stuff too, like the kids, trophies for whatever. It's like, well, take these, like if they're so important to you, Joe, young son, enjoy them at your house. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to start charging you storage fees. You guys know how expensive storage fees are. I put stuff in storage for 2 or 3 months, and I was like, I couldn't get it out of there fast enough. I was like, I know people that have 3, 4, 5 storage bins, you guys, that they're storing stuff that does not matter, right? They've never been there. Yes, sir.
My wife made me get rid of my storage bins.
Well,
I've never recovered.
I think she's probably made up for it. I think you're doing okay.
I also have another question.
Yes, sir.
How do you find, what's the difference between a collector and a hoarder?
Well, it depends. Typical hoarders, they hoard kind of like everything. You know what I mean? They hoard a lot of different things. We had a situation recently up in Tip City where the son called us, was referred to us from another client, and he lives in Pittsburgh. His father lived in the house. The mother died, I think, in October of last year. They called us January, February this year. She had 500 doll collection. which was spooky. Some dolls are creepy, right? But he's in Pittsburgh. The mother took care of so we do downsizing, but a lot of this is, we help a lot of people with estates too. I'm certified in senior relocation and estates and probates as a real estate broker. So I've been doing this a long time, but they didn't know what to do with these dolls, right? The father never paid a bill. We find that a lot with our clients too, is the person who passes or the person who gets sick and has to go into a community or what have you, is the person who took care of everything. And then all of a sudden we have the person who doesn't, and so we help them as best as we can, staying in our lane, but referring them to qualified people that we know and trust, help them manage through those things. But we have different auctioneers for different things. And in this case, we have found as one of our specialty auctioneers that auctioned off all of those dolls because they did not know where to start, right? And back to your point about the china and the silver TR, that's one of the toughest conversations I have with our clients is our grandparents, our parents, like china, silver, all of that was a big deal, right? And it was expensive. Like that's what they wanted for their wedding gifts, like, so there's a lot of, excuse me, emotion tied to that. And then we being passed down as kids, like we got to watch our parents first use the china at Thanksgiving and Christmas because we were at the kids' table and got plastic and paper. I don't know, at least my family did, right? But so we watched them. So it had some sort of, elevated meaning to us, right? As we're kids. Then we hold on to that emotion going through. But our kids today don't care. And that's one of the toughest conversations I've had is there's very few kids that want the china, want the silver, want the heirlooms that are being passed down, whether it's furniture or what have you. They want to do their own thing, right? So with our clients that we talk to that have that, we say, start using it. Like if you love it, start using the china. Like don't keep it for good, Like if you want to use it all the time. If not, it's best to go ahead and try to sell it because unfortunately, a lot of those things that we paid a lot of money for are not worth much money these days. One of my favorite, it's not my favorite, it's actually very sad to me because I had an aunt who had, I don't know, millions is probably an exaggeration, but several thousands of dollars in Longaberger baskets. Remember that trend, that fad? Right? Well, they're not worth anything. That's just something like a little bit, right? But they're just not the thing anymore, So if you have that china, if you have that silver, you enjoy it or donate it or give it to somebody that you think will use it, whether it is a family member or not, because our kids aren't as emotionally attached to those items as we were because they weren't at the kids' table when the parents were using it. And we got the solo cups, at least in my family. Yes, ma'am.
I just took my silver and had it melted down and got the cash for it instead, so.
Hey,
Atta girl.
there you go. I think the money in your stuff, So again, it's the memories that we hold on to. We can, I was in Greece a couple weeks ago with some really good friends, all top real estate agents, and we came up with this idea. And only to find out it already exists. And I don't know, TR, if you know it or not, but we came up with this idea about how we can come up with QR codes that we will take pictures, have pictures taken and store everything for the family, and then put the QR codes on the monument, Neil.
Yep.
And we already found a company that's doing that, right? I don't know if they're doing it around here or not, but I was like, well, we can do it better, but wouldn't that be cool? Like, I mean, I don't know, like, I think it would be cool, like, if you didn't put like the china in the, whatever, but you can store that stuff in a QR code so you can have those memories. But you also, I mean, that's easier than a thumb drive, that's the old technology. But if there's a QR code on a headstone or whatever, you go up and you can see the pictures of the people, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's an amazing idea. Because it's kind of like how you do now at the celebration of lives that you have. Like there's pictures and everyone wants to remember them in the good days, not when they were sick or after they passed. So yeah, that company's out there, but we're not giving up on that idea yet. Does anybody think that's a good idea but me?
Yeah, you have it, takes it to like a website, and our website has the video tribute program.
Yeah.
Along with the obituary and everything.
Yeah, exactly. But if you put a QR code on the headstone, and then when people went there, they could experience their family or put a story or, I don't know, maybe even a video, you know? I'm gonna work on that. Let's talk after this DR. Let's start a company.
Sure.
There's only one that we found, right? I'm not kidding you.
There's a couple of them, I think, you've been using QR codes, haven't you, for a while?
On Headstone?
10 or 15
Really?
years.
Yeah, we just launched a thing called Legacy Links, and it's an online memorial that you can actually go to the monument, and then you have your full online memorial.
So when you go up to the headstone, you just take a picture there? Well, I'm way too late on that. I'm gonna stick to my downsizing then. I'm gonna stick to my I'm really good at I answer everyone's questions sufficiently, so use your China over, get some money, go have a good time with it, you know? Experiences, yeah, Kaya, we need those for Brock. It's the experiences that we look forward to, not just the material possession. Would you agree with that? You know? So, tips on how to talk to parents about downsizing. Here we go. Does anybody have parents that might need to downsize? You know? It was tough. Taking my keys away from my grandmother, honestly, to this day has scarred me probably the rest of my life, and that was, I don't know, 20 years ago, right? It's hard. So first and foremost is be emotionally prepared for it. Understand what they're gonna have to go through. There are a lot of adult children out there that are now having to have these conversations. You're not alone, you know? I turned 55 this year and I was so surprised. Just the older I get, just the more people come to me and more conversations, and my mom this and my mom that, my dad this, my dad that, and it's hard, you know, because of that hierarchy that we've had. But you're not alone. A lot of people are having to go through it right now. Prepare yourself by reminding yourself of all the benefits of why it's critical for them to downsize, right? Be prepared when you go talk to them. Don't just say like, I think. Why do you think? You know what I mean? Or I feel. Well, I don't care about your feelings today. You know what I mean? Be prepared for their like snarky remarks too, because it's going to happen. Put your interest aside because they can feel it. You know, you really need to come from the heart. Like, what is your ulterior motive, or is there one? Is it really just to make sure that they are safe and happy and healthy and you get to enjoy them a lot longer, right? Or is it you want them to sell their house so that you can take more trips to, you know, Tahiti or whatever? They'll know that. Like, you can feel energy, right? So keep your emotions out of it and remember it's ultimately their decision. And that right there is probably one of the hardest things to do. Would you agree? Because we're emotional, you know? And it's emotional for us having to have that conversation to see this happening with our parents, you know? Be sure to bullet point all the feel-good reasons that would make them happy, you know? Like, if you're not seeing kind of a pattern is when you have this conversation, you need to prepare for it, right? You can't just go, like, we didn't like it when our parents nagged at us, right? Does anybody like that? We don't like it when our husbands or wives or friends or anybody nag at us. So when you go unprepared to have these conversations with your parents, it's gonna feel like nagging to them and it's not gonna be well received. But when you know and you have the benefits for them and you can put together next a structured plan of how they're going to do it, this is honestly one of my superpowers, and one of the things our clients appreciate the most about it is because we literally put together a plan of what's going to happen and what needs to take place. So when you have people, the fear of change, the fear of the unknown, the fear of not knowing what's coming next is what stops people and paralyzes them, right? Where to go, what to do. You know, not many people are like me that sell their house with nowhere to go and end up back in their rental. Because I still haven't found anything. Do you guys know any good realtors? There's like 3 places I want to live in the market. So yeah, I'm in one of my rentals right now. But anyway, have a structured plan. Like when you can make them feel safe, and that's what's it about. That's what it's all about, is giving them the benefits, giving them the reasons. Not, I told you so, because they don't want to be, we didn't like that as kids. Like we didn't want to be talked to. We wanted to be talked with, right? So allow your parents to express their expectations and understand this is going to take some time, you know? I was recently on an appointment up in Inglewood, And actually, one of my good friends works for a law firm. She was on a plane and she talks to everybody. I'm like, do you really want to come work with me? Because you don't know a stranger. She met this guy on a plane. He was coming to see his mom from Albuquerque, New Mexico in Englewood, Ohio. And she was telling him all the things that I do. 2 or 3 months later, I get a call from this gentleman. I didn't know anything about this, right? Long story short, he comes here and he's like, she told me how you did. I went to your website. We're coming here to talk to my mom about downsizing. And we thought it was going to be a battle, right? He and I talked on the phone several times before the actual appointment. And when we got there, I asked a lot of questions and, make them feel comfortable. We were all so surprised. You guys don't realize how ready she was to go. And when I explained her options, we thought she was going to move to a smaller house. She's got a nice sized ranch in Englewood with a full basement, and it's impeccable. Like the house is beautiful, it's updated, all that stuff. But she is living in a small part of it, and it's a lot for her to take care of. When we breached this and we talked about, what to do, and we give her options, she chose the option that neither her son nor I even thought of. She wants to move into an independent, like a CCRC, which is a continuous care retirement community. So they start as independent, then you go, if you, God forbid, need assisted later on, you can move there. And then if anyone needs memory care or more help down the road, you never have to leave this one community. That's what she chose to do. And this was all in an hour and a half, right? Mike was so shocked. I was so shocked. But when you put this plan together for them and you show them their options and you let them understand that what they don't know, then it really, really helps that process. Not everybody's going to be like with Mary to make a decision in an hour and a half, but clearly she's been thinking about it a long time. You know what I mean?
She walked in the first place, was like, I don't like it. Walked in the next one, was like, this is still too big. She's like, what else you got?
Yep.
And took less than an hour when I was there that day.
Yeah, because we showed her condos and we showed her communities, you know what I mean? And so that's what she decided to go for. So anyway, structure that, allow your parents to express their expectations, because what you think they may need is not really what they may need, So allowing them, once you can open and breach that conversation, allow them to be a part of that process. And ensure you make all the reasons relevant to them and only them. If you say I in any of your conversations with them, you've lost, right? So it's not about you, it's about them, okay? Research and present the options as part of that plan. Any questions on any of that so far? Frame it as an opportunity, much like getting rid of their things. I'm sorry, what was your first name?
Me?
Yeah.
Teresa.
Much like helping your friend or your relative get rid of their things and showing the opportunity of how they can serve someone else, right? Then this is very much like that, right? Point out all the opportunities and the benefits that your parents are going to have by making this decision to move, right? Speak to what makes your parents excited. Is it saving money? Is it more golfing? Is it more time to see their grandkids? Is it, no home maintenance? Is it travel? Is it, heck, University of Dayton has one of, I can't remember the name of it right now, but they have this great educational program for seniors where you can go learn whatever you want for free, like taught. I mean, you name it. Do they want to start experience they couldn't experience while they were raising us? Like that's one of the things. Not time.
The Osher Lifelong Learning Institute is what they have.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's amazing. Yes, sir.
I'm one of
Here.
their professors.
Say that again.
I'm one of their professors.
What do you teach on?
Putting the fun in funerals.
Nice.
We sell out in about the first 5 or 10 minutes.
I love that.
Class, so
Yeah,
it's great.
that's fantastic. So it's if you guys don't know about it, it's a really cool program that University of Dayton puts on.
What is it called again? I'm sorry. Neil, what was that?
It's Osher Lifelong Learning Institute.
Is it OS?
Lifelong
OS.
Learning Institute.
Yeah, the lifelong.
OSCH.
It's over in the old NCR building.
NCR building.
Yeah.
Across the road, across the hill.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, Osher Lifelong Learning.
Yeah, I know where it is. I just forgot the name of it. Yeah, but it's really cool. It's a nice service our community has. So, but bring to them like what's important to them, like why this would help them. Make suggestions that they otherwise may not have thought of. you know? And honestly, they may surprise you. It just depends on where they are in the emotional process, you know? Focus on the low maintenance, affordable, and fun lifestyle your parents can enjoy after downsizing. You know, some people also do like, they want to, kind of, not conversely to this, but in addition to it, some people want to make sure that they do also have a place to, they don't want to maintain this great big yard anymore, but they may want to make sure that they can do some gardening or have a garden or whatever. So make sure that things that you've seen them doing around their home and the things they love, that you relate to where they can go and have like a scaled down version. You know what I mean? Yes, you can still grow your tomatoes and your gardenias or whatever, but you just don't have like half an acre. So this is so important. We get I can't say my patience level is like that of a gnat, except when it comes to seniors. But it's really important to be patient and compassionate with them, right? Because again, we all see outside of other people what they can't see in themselves, right? So you already know, like how many times you're like, well, you know your friend needs to do something, but they don't see it, that they need to do that, right? You're like, you know before they do. Same thing here. So you have to be compassionate about what they're going through. Keep in mind, these are really heavy issues a lot of times. Not everybody's like Mary that says, let's go, right? It's taken us the longest from start to finish that we've had has been a year and a half with a gentleman who, a year and a half. Took me from the first time that I had an appointment, which was, I think, did we sell Voice Sales House last year, end of last year?
Yeah.
So it's
It was
2022.
Middle of last year, it was the day after New Year's, it was January 2nd, because we were off, you took the phone call and you were like. "Oh,
Yeah, anyway, I've got 10 minutes, so not to cut you off, but that hour went fast. So anyhow, so a year and a half to a couple of weeks is the shortest amount of time. So anywhere in between. Ask your parents how they feel about the topic, consider the loss. I'm gonna hurry up because I have 10 minutes here left. But I'm gonna leave some time for you guys. Understand the feelings and the fears they may have, assure them that you want what's best for them. Respect the dignity and their independence. Remember, it's a role reversal. We've kind of talked about that. You're still the kids. Never speak down to your parents or make them feel like the child. Make them feel like it's their decision. That's super important, is getting their buy-in, and include them in the planning processes. And then truly listen to how they feel, and then put the ultimate plan together. You go with an initial plan, but then put the ultimate plan together with them. Tips for telling your kids. This is another one, right? Kids get attached to the house. They want to keep their trophies there, right? TR, like they want to use your house as their storage bin. Well, respect their emotional ties, right? It's very much similar in the reverse. You're just talking to your kids now about what's important for you. And a lot of times, I don't know about you guys, but in my family, finances weren't discussed, right? So I just thought my parents were always okay when in fact they weren't, you know? So it's important to understand that the kids really don't know what they don't know. And so it's important to be transparent with them. Remember, sometimes the house is everything in it is more sentimental to the adult kids than it is to you. You know, that happens a lot as well. Remind the adult children that they aren't doing this, or that you're not doing this on a whim, but that you're doing it for your future and for theirs. Yes, sir?
I'm 81, and
Fantastic.
I've been downsizing. I'm finding that nobody wants my stuff.
Yeah.
It was important. My grandfather had that stuff, so I figure my grandchildren or somebody, they're not interested.
They're not, you know.
I tried to give him some stuff. He didn't.
You didn't want to do it.
I'm the same age, so I don't need that.
You guys are both very cute. What's it, the tie-dyes?
Just coincidence.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, I sell them, so I've got a van full of them out there.
That's
And,
fabulous.
he gets them from me, so we just happened to accidentally.
I thought there was like another festival that we were gonna go to later on, you know?
But what do you do when people, this don't, even in the family, you figure, I've got great-great-grandchildren. You figure they should be passed on, but they won't do it.
And do you guys get together like any holidays? Like, does most of the family get together like at Thanksgiving or Christmas? And it's coming up, like we're
Yeah,
unfortunately, like,
now,
60 days.
from time to time, it's awful hard to get together too.
Today's October 25th, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 months from today, it's Christmas.
Yes.
Right? So if this is important to you at that family gathering, let them know, like bring it up then and be like, hey, I want you guys to know, like, I want this stuff out of my house, right? And I want you guys to have it if you want to have it. I want you to enjoy it for this reason and that reason.
But they don't.
Then it's time to let it go and
Yeah.
we can help you, get rid of it.
I guess I'll be throwing away a lot of stuff.
But there's also things, again, remember the trash and treasure? Like,
Yes.
she was bringing me, I mean, the stuff I got for stuff I didn't know I had almost paid for my move. One of them, because I moved more than one time, because remember I didn't know I was going. So anyway, frame it so that they can see the value for you. Take your time when downsizing, allow everyone to process it. Let the kids in, again, it's in reverse. Offer the items to them, feel free to get the kids involved in helping you dispose of any unwanted items, right? After all, they're part of the reason that you have so many things in your house. Give them what they want, and so they can enjoy it. If back to the holidays, like if there's this family tradition of a turkey platter, give it to your niece, whoever's going to be doing the holidays from now on. Like, let them start enjoying it and let them start using it now, right? Remind them of the benefits, the greater financial security, perfect space for your needs and safety a lot of times, freedom and more spontaneous lifestyle, peace of mind, improved mental and physical health. Back to what we were talking about, like, you have to have just the same empathy with your children as they do with parents, and letting them know all the benefits that it is for you. I'm gonna breeze through this really quick, because we have, Kaya, I think, passed out.
I haven't passed them out yet, but I will.
Yeah, we have pretty much these little tips on a card for you that you can take home with you. But start early. You never have enough time. Like I said, I started our conversation with 1 week for every year you lived in your home, and mine was about right. It took me about 4 months to get ready because I'd been there 16 years. Take your time. Don't try to do it all on a weekend. We don't want to rush through the process, but we don't want it to take a year and a half either. Start in the area with little emotional attachment. Start in your utility closet. Start in your laundry room. My laundry room was shocking to me. I didn't realize my cabinets were so deep, and I'm bad about it. I can't find it. I'll just go buy another one. Understand your needs. Avoid diving into big rooms at the very beginnings. Like, start small. Get rid of duplicates. I told you about my duplicates, baking dishes, all that kind of stuff. Like, how many of them do you really need? Consider gifting duplicates to your child or to grandkids or nieces or nephews. Take a look at what you have and what your needs will be. Set that aside and then get rid of the rest. Take time to digitize photos, documents, and files. My friends in Florida, had they done that, they would not have lost all of their memories, and they're not downsizing. She's younger than I am, but at the same time, they have none of that left because they had 5 feet of water in their home, So anything can happen. Eliminate the rooms you won't have in your next home. And then there's the spaces: sell, donate, throw, keep, to use in another space. Invite family and friends over to help you start. Bond over memories and stories. It can be a fun time. Have a celebration. Invite your friends over. Invite your family over. And let them help you pack. That way it's free. That's better yet. Allow time to reminisce. It's okay to pause and let nostalgia take over. It can be emotional. Downsizing can be emotional, and it's okay to take a break and come back to it. Don't let the memories prevent you, though, from actually getting the job done and moving forward. Keep the goal in mind of why you decided to start this in the process. Only make yes or no piles. If you use it regularly, keep it. If it's been sitting in a closet or on a shelf for a year, it's time to let it go. And don't let yourself make a maybe pile, because that will be the absolute biggest pile that you have. Well, let me think about it. Maybe, right? It'll take up the whole house. So don't make a maybe pile. There's 5 categories on the sheet that I sent out to you. Keep it in those 5 categories and color code it. How we help you downsize with these. This is all on my website. We don't have much time, and it's not a sales presentation. But if you have any questions, we do have a whole process, all the house and everything else. This is some of the things that we do. Thank you very much. I think my time is over. Are there any questions? None? I covered it all.
That good.
You guys have been amazing, and I'm grateful for your time. Thank you very much.
So give us a couple minutes. We appreciate obviously what Denise does, and it's a tough topic and something that I think a lot of us avoid because of the emotion and all of that. And I think she gave us some great insight into how to deal with that. What we're going to do now is transition and get Nancy Roberson set up. We're going to start talking about the legal documents that you need for end-of-life planning. So give us a few minutes to transition. And again, Denise,
Thank you. And please listen to Nancy because it helps everybody in the future.
There's a cooler back here full of stuff. Do you got, anybody want something? Water, that kind of stuff.
I don't think they have.
Good.
I'm sorry, Christy, and my husband is John. Christy.
Thank the Lord.
That's a good part of this really hearing.
I know what you're talking
He keeps thinking he can sell it. It is. I read somewhere you do that every hour. I can't always do that every hour, but. Every now and then do.
I try to do the alarm on my phone and stuff, but sometimes you're in situations where
You just can't do
you
it
can't
again.
do it. That's true.
Probably perfect. And like I said, you need to grab a chair. Yeah?
I was
Need to hand out anything?
The advantage to the QR code on the monument is people never actually go visit. I was thinking of myself, both my parents are gone. I lost my dad young, but I count on one hand the number of times I go to the cemetery because he's not there. And it's out of state now, where we live, but even when I would go home,
And that's where the online
because to
memorial can
me,
come in.
he's
Yeah.
not there.
Right. And different people kind of have different experiences. Some people, it's something where
Place to go
they need
visit.
a place to go.
Yeah.
But then the beauty of the online memorial is it's an extension, so therefore you can visit it anytime.
Which would be very nice for people who live out of state, where there's a burial.
Because you can actually put a photograph of the memorial on the website. Have information, videos, pictures, it's amazing.
I have a friend who has a burial, stone monument somewhere. But the individual is very different. She has not been able to.
You know, is there any stirrs? I don't suppose there's any.
The individual.
These are
individuals
flavored.
were cremated.
Everything
But
just
yet
half
she's
and
not
half.
buried the remains. But
And
she
if she
has,
never does, that will be an indefinite. It still shows
Yeah,
a
she
record of
wanted to-
existence.
she has to go. Yeah, that's
Have to
interesting.
have some becoming more and more popular because a lot of people, they're very similar. So they had a spouse that always. And then when you recognize their places, have some becoming very
Well, this is very cool. I told some of our friends, I said, I'm going to. That's the point. No.
Everybody has the
I
same
started
look.
Yeah.
Yesterday was